Hey, what is going on, guys? This is Shaheen, Shaw's Profits, and I am here with a stud, with an all-star student of mine, Alex Kaplow. I'm saying that right, Alex?
You are, man. Good, good. That's awesome. You got the
Right
first
on.
shot.
There we go. So, Alex, thanks for joining us. Really, I know your time is strapped, and then you have a lot of things to do. You have a Kindle publishing business to run, and another business that I'm sure I think you're running. We'll talk about that more. So, I
Yeah.
really appreciate you being here. Why don't you go ahead, start off? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I graduated not too long ago, about in August, right? And back then I was kind of running the Kindle business, right? I was doing right around some months 500, some months 1,000, some months back and forth, right? I wasn't taking it too seriously, and I wasn't treating it really like a business, right? I wanted to ramp it up, and I knew graduation was coming up. I knew the real world's gonna hit, so I was planning that. Hey, I wanted to take this more seriously,
So,
right?
this was graduation from high school or graduation from college?
From university. So in
From
Canada, they call it university. In the United States, I think it's college. Yeah.
It's called
So yeah,
both. It's called a hack too sometimes.
whichever. I decided to do a marketing degree just
Hmm.
because I had a background. So full disclosure, I do have like a little bit of an internet marketing thing, but I wanted to also learn about marketing. Like what's those classes? I was always wondered, hey, those guys in business school, they're smarter than me. You know what? Let me go try to do the business thing and whatnot. Long
Right.
and behold, I'm not smarter than you, right? So, but yeah, so I graduated and then we started taking it more seriously, right?
And what were you
The,
doing at the time, like as far as work goes? Like, what were you doing then, and are you still doing it now? Just to
yeah,
back
yeah.
up.
So, yeah, just to give a background. So, my background is sales. I used to sell electronic
I, l-
computers,
I
basically.
love
So,
it.
I
I
feel you, man. You sell
Yeah.
audio, I sell computers.
There you go. And I tell all you guys right now, if you have never had a sales job and you're just getting started on internet marketing, get a sales job. It will like destroy any fears you have, any reservations you have. It will make you a lot better at internet marketing, in my opinion. And I found that all the good internet marketers, they were salespeople at one time. You
Yeah,
know?
it's just because the you get the psychology, right? Once you get understand the psychology, you can do everything. Everything else is just a tool.
Right, right. So cool. You were finishing up college and you said, I got to get something going. Go
So
ahead
yeah,
and finish
I
up
was
there.
doing that job, and then I was doing one internship after another, right? I was a marketing manager. Then I did like another thing and another thing, just internship after internship. And I was still a part timer in an internship there. Now I'm full time after I graduated, so I'm still working. But so what happened is that I saw graduation was coming up, and I was like, you know what? I want to take this more seriously. So August came, graduated. Thankfully, everything went well, and then we started taking it more seriously, right? So we kind of start making like 1,100, 1,200, right around that ballpark. And I was doing stuff my way, right? I knew there was a better way.
So
And
this
the
was
thing
this was
is,
Kindle publishing. You were doing Kindle publishing, but you hadn't really been using a course or anything like
so,
that.
so it's really out of my head, right? I was doing
Okay.
everything really out of my head.
And you
So
still got to 1100. That's pretty impressive. That's
yeah, but
interesting.
the ways I was doing it, like I knew there was a better way because and just I knew it just because when I used to Google like proof of incomes and whatnot, I used to see people selling the same amount of books as me, but were making three times more. And I
More
was like,
money.
I'm doing something wrong, right?
Right.
So I knew something was up, and I knew the way I was doing it, I couldn't scale very efficiently. So just to give you an idea, I was training people, outsourcers. I was doing teams. I was doing quizzes. I was training people everything from scratch. There was a better way of doing things, right? So it was
Right.
very time consuming, and it wasn't the best way. So yeah, so that happened, and I saw things were not going as fast as possible. And I knew I should buy courses, right? I should invest. If something's making me money, I should put money to up my game, right? It's just a pattern I've always felt. Like if you're gonna start something and buy a course, it'll shortcut your way to get what you want, the end result, right?
100%. Yeah.
And I knew I wanted to hit 2018 with the ground running. So that's why in December, mid-December, or in the 20th of December. So I had like a 2 week or a 1 week break from work. So I'm still full time, right? So I'm still working full time, and I was since graduation I've been full time. And yeah, I bought the course when I had a 1 week break off for Christmas, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna veg and do nothing, right? I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on YouTube,
Say anything you
but yeah,
want.
Yeah, awesome. I
Say,
like this channel. That's the way to do it.
there you go. Say anything you want. We'll filter it later if we need
Cable
to.
TV. It's not cable TV, eh?
Hey,
So
right.
for what you're teaching, right, it could be a literally a six-figure business. It really can.
And it's just like we spend we get into $50,000 to $100,000 of debt to go and pay for a university education that, like Matt Damon said in Good Will Hunting, we could have gotten late fees at the library store. And most of the time, that education is not actually solving a specific problem, like making six figures with your own online passive income business. Usually, it's a lot of theory, unless you're going into a technical trade, right, like accounting, or you're going into something like that. Even then, you're working very long hours. You have to go through rigorous tests. You have to spend a lot of money, and you get to a point where it's just like, okay, I'm making $50,000 a year now, and I have to kiss somebody's ass to get to the next step, and then I have to go through that hoop, and maybe I'll make six figures by the time I'm, in my 50s or 60s. And by the way, anybody who you're in your 50s and 60s, it's like the good thing is in 2-3 years you can get to the 6 or 7 figure mark with your own internet business. You don't have to go through all that. So yeah, that's very important that you say that. I've spent $4,000 or $5,000 on courses before that have gotten me measurable results, and I never say to myself, I wasted money there. I wish I didn't have to spend all that. It's if I find a person in a course that is solving a specific problem, there's no amount of money that I wouldn't spend, on that, within reason, of course. Where were you
So,
at when you got into the course, and then using the course, where did that kind of take you, financially speaking?
so, so like I said, we were doing about 1100, 1200, putting in a lot of work, right? A lot of work to do that. Like I said, I was doing stuff my way, the way I thought it was, whatever.
Right.
August comes, I do the post on Facebook. One day and a half goes by during my Christmas break, and go through the course. And then I remember even posting, I really appreciated this module, this module, this module, and those were the biggest wows for me. Again, I had achieved a certain level, but you brought it to the next level. So that course is not just the beginner's course, but also people that were kind of intermediate like me saw some. I remember even stating like, this is a good, very wow, 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 wow. And the second I went to the course is the second I started implementing, right? So that was the biggest thing. I knew if I took all these notes and all I had was theory, like you do at school, right? You just have theory, and I didn't put it in action, it was gonna melt away. So I was like, okay, you know what? He talked about this. Let's implement this. So believe it or not, I don't remember if I posted this, but after like 2 weeks, just with that, the smallest modification, right? It's pricing. Let's be honest.
Right.
Within 2 weeks, or even sooner than that, I probably paid for the course based on a bump in sales versus what I would have made, right? Because
Right.
just to give you an idea too, I'm in Canada, right? So whenever we bump a price, I won't say what's the number, it's a 25% increase on top of the bump of the increase in price, right? So
Right.
whatever I increase the price to, I'm also getting an additional 25% because it's Canadian dollars, so USD to Canadian.
That's right.
So it made a jump, for us
Right.
per book, and we were selling,
That's
So
awesome.
so that was immediate, right? And the next thing we started implementing the other things you talk about, right? I won't go into it. So
The
now
keyword strategies for the most part.
the keywords, the bundles.
Right.
So come January, what do we do? So ballparking numbers here, right? So January we hit right around 2,000. So you can already see like we were doing constantly
Right.
1,100, 1,000, 900, 700, 1,200. We went to 2,000, right?
Right.
And that's implementing. Literally, I have them check mark in the thing with notes and whatnot. I'm like, okay, we implemented this, what Shaheen taught, this. Out of the four things I said, like those are the ones that really had emphasis. That 2,000 bump, we only plugged in two things. The rest we still do it. None of our books, we have right around 25 books. None of our books on our ACF yet. And that was one of my goals for February, right? Remember I said I'm going to get 25 books done. So that's
Right.
I'm doing it this month. And yeah, so
you went from 1,100 to 2,000 just by implementing two of the strategies.
Two of the things. So pricing.
Wow.
And a couple of keyword things that we modified of the books, right?
Right.
So existing books, we modified it based on some of the stuff you said, right?
And you were able to measure it. That's the most important thing, is you kind of had those measurable results based on what you actually applied.
So I'll say another caveat, like full disclaimer, right? I'll say like the what happened. full disclaimer, in the niche we're in, January is very good. I won't say
Right.
what niche I'm in, but January is very good.
Don't. Yeah.
But still, I know there's another factor behind that. It's definitely pricing and the other stuff I mentioned. But
Right.
January is a very good month for us. December too, but January just so happens to be. And if you're in marketing, you'll know exactly what I'm saying.
Right.
And to add to that, right? So now we're in February, right? We have time to even do some other stuff that you mentioned, like so all the keywords we got, just to give you an idea, right? So this is another like you're gonna go, wow. The keywords you said not to use in the course, the ones like don't go there. We're in those ones,
You're in
and we're
those, and you guys are doing good in those
we're
niches.
competing, right? We're very aggressive, and
Right.
full disclaimer, we've never paid ourselves. Again, we put every dollar back into the business because we, to be honest with you, I'm not the guy that's going to be satisfied reaching what we're at right now. So February, we're touching 3,000.
Right.
I want to scale this thing to as big as you can humanly take it, right? So,
Right.
and by the way, 3,000, we still don't do the audios, the ACX or any of
You're
that,
still
right?
not on
We're
ACX.
still not on.
Oh, dude, you got to get on there because I mean, yeah,
We
you
are,
could.
we are. So,
Oh, I'm hurt.
you know what I mean? But we're doing it. We're doing it again. We're doing it. We want to do it long term, right? So we're doing all the things from scratch. So
Right.
taking all the biggest portion of royalties and whatnot. So again, we're not doing all the stuff that you even mentioned yet. That's what I'm trying to say. And we had done everything we're working on is stuff that you pretty much said we're doing it the wrong way, right? Now we
Right.
want to start implementing stuff you said, which is the smart way of doing keyword research and whatnot, right?
Right.
I'm going in with the biggest titans right now competing, but we're still making money, believe it or not.
And
So
that's great because yeah, and I wouldn't say like I definitely would tell you to not get out of those niches, stay in them, but you could always diversify and go into kind of the smaller stuff that I talk about because I found that I have competed in those niches, but like you said, you got to be more aggressive, you got to put a little bit more money into it, you got to put a little bit more marketing into it. I found that I wanted it to be a little bit more passive. Not to say you can't be passive in those niches. So I would go after these really weird niches that just like they weren't really infiltrated, and then I would go in there with my marketing chops, my knowledge, and everything. Put a book in, and yeah, next thing you know, a book is making over $500 a month, and it's just on one book, and then you have a whole series of other books, and we won't talk too much about that, but.
yeah,
That's impressive, man. That you guys are in those categories and still doing well. I say if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So like don't get out of it, but
but
nonetheless,
so the funny thing is that just to back up a bit, right? When we looked at Kindle as a business opportunity, right? We knew, like you say a lot of times. I saw your last video about you should diversify as soon as you start making money and whatnot. We went into Kindle with the mindset of it being a lead gen. So we wanted to
right,
have people buy our books and use that as a front end lead gen source for a back end businesses that we're working on now, right?
right,
So I know maybe that's like advanced marketing and whatnot, but the entire business, it's almost like we're being paid to grow a list, an email list. That was the vision that we had. But then when we started getting into it, we're like, wait a minute, Create Space pays a lot. Kindle
right.
pays a lot. Ace, this could be a front end business to supply a back end business. It's
Right.
profitable, you know?
Right.
So
Yeah, and
we came in with that mindset.
right. And that's really good because it gets you thinking very big, right? If you think too small, I know I talk a lot on the channel to people who haven't made their first dollar online. And I tell them, if
Yeah.
you want to make your first $100 to $200 a day, Kindle publishing is the way. Then I kind of leave it at that. But when I first got into Kindle publishing, I was thinking, man, I want this thing to be a $20,000 a month business and that could possibly lead into other things. I once I got in and I had that vision in my head of doing really, really big, it was a lot easier to get me to get to $3,000 a month and $4,000 and $5,000 a month because I'm like, no, I still have a ways to go. So
Yeah.
if you believe in, I don't know about believe, but like if you subscribe to the idea that you have an automatic success mechanism in you, that when you activate it, you will get to that goal, right? It's in book Psycho Cybernetics, a great book. Everybody should read it on the channel. And it talks a lot about once you kind of set that barometer to a really high degree, well then, getting midway there is a lot easier because you have it in your mind to boom, advance, right?
And, and one of the things that we did, why it took so long to scale and whatnot, is the biggest thing is that we focused on building a team, right? So one of the people that's doing the promotions for us, right, promoting the books for us, it's been 2 years she's working with us, and and now she's like a manager, right? She helps us
Mm-hmm.
list the books and whatnot. And now, to give you an idea, we have an entire team, a go-to designer, a go-to promotion team that's being managed by the manager. We have a go-to team of writers, right? We hired one writer who ended up having a team under him that's
Hmm.
charging us very good pricing because we're doing bulk. So
Right.
I feel like right now where we're at, because on top of the knowledge we got from you, now all this is has prepared us for this test. Now we can really scale, right? But to the person just starting, I mean, your course helps as well. I mean, there's nothing easier than Kindle because Amazon takes care of the sales, marketing, refunds, customer charge, everything, right? So
Right.
it's awesome business for the person starting, or an awesome business for a person that wants to take it to the 20K mark. I mean, I honestly feel that we could do it if you really treat this like a real business. I mean, I don't think you can even go past that.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing is treating it like a real business. I know a lot of people they get into this and they just want to throw a couple of books up there, see their name in print, and kind of get a congratulatory, hand clap. But for many of us, we're trying to actually build legitimate online businesses, and you got to go where the customers are at, right? And right now, the customers are all flocking to Amazon. So
Yeah,
until that doesn't happen anymore, I say just keep at this, think really big, treat it like a business. And
yeah,
what you're doing on the back end, I'd be more interested to hear more about that because that's even an area that I didn't really even dive into. I just kind of was content making passive income from Kindle. And now I have other businesses where I operate much the same as you. I kind of have somebody who writes free reports for me. I do all the copywriting myself, but I have many VAs that kind of outsource certain tasks for me. So, I do it on a different scale or on a different platforms, I should say. But I'd be more interested to hear what you have to say about the whole Kindle doing it that way because, yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's going to really, really take off in just a
so
short
that's what
while.
we want, right? But I'll just say one thing, man. One thing that I love when you say it. I love you, man. But one thing that always drives me nuts. I hate when people say passive income. Like
Yeah.
to give you honestly. So I work I'm in the suburbs of Montreal, right? So I'm in a place called Laval, which is right next to Montreal.
Hmm.
So it takes me an hour to commute. So I have to get up. I have to leave my house at 7:45 a.m. By 9 to 5, I'm at work, and it takes me an hour and a half to get back home. From basically, I'd say 7:30 to midnight, 1 o'clock, I'm on this every single day and weekend. Now, granted, I want to take it to a new level, right? But
Right.
I know some people want to make $500 and $1,000 and want to do it passively. But honestly, especially in the beginning, I would treat this with like that mentality of Dan Kennedy always says gun to the head, gun to the head. Treat
Hmm.
this like a business. Treat it like every day on it. Every day check all what we call it patrolling our books. Go through all your books. Check if you get a negative review. Check everything. Like if it was a retail store like you were running, right?
Right. 100%. Yeah, and it's funny, I'm kind of you on one hand you have to be a marketer, right, when you're online, but on the other hand you need to kind of give people, especially that are in your tribe, like everybody watching this, the real about everything. And fact
Yeah.
is, I worked hard on my Kindle business. I mean, the thing is I was inspired. I really wanted to make it succeed and I would do whatever it was possible to get myself out of the situation I was in. And in
Mhm.
order to do that, it's like, yeah, it's no passive income. Especially at the beginning, it's not passive income. You got to work your ass off, get there, and then, yeah, eventually it'll get to the point where it's not entirely passive. And I always say that. It's not like 100% passive. You still have to work on it, but not as much as you were at the beginning, right?
Of course.
Especially if you're not trying to scale. When you're trying to scale, you're always working. You're always working 60 hours a week. The cool thing about online business, and I'm sure you'll agree, Alex, is that it's fun. It's not like a job, so to speak. It's very, very fun. You get in there, you get to research books, you get to research ideas, you employ your ideas, you change the copy, and you're getting people to buy from you at a distance. And there is no greater satisfaction, in my opinion, than convincing somebody who lives in like, I don't know, New Zealand that like I'm the best fit for them.
Yeah, it's awesome. And like I said, Amazon does the majority for us, right? And to go back to your point, so one of the things that we're doing for backend, right? So this is the stuff that, again, we came in with the mindset of treating this like a lead gen, right? So all the books that we have obviously an opt-in, right? So we offer a gift, a really nice book that represents, so all of our books are in one niche. To give you an idea, I won't say what the niche is. There's no way.
And that's really good that you've done that.
Yeah, and the one book that we give away is has synergy across all our books, right? So it's a beautiful gift to offer in exchange for an email address, right? So they open the book. So whether they're just browsing inside the book, right, if they're not a buyer, or if they actually buy the book, right, there's 3 or 4 times we mention, hey, join our newsletter, get this thing, get this thing, get this gift, and then we put them into a landing page where they put their email. Now,
Interesting.
I won't go into what our actual business is, but let's just say we're experts at it, right? So we have a license to we're specialized in this niche. So we offer backend. We have a backend product, and we offer high ticket consultations. So from a book buyer,
Gotcha.
that's $3. Like, we never really care about the $3 or $4, but again, it turns out to be a business for all we know. Like, it's amazing. But the
Right.
real money we know, and we've already gotten not so good at following up doing the back end stuff just because we're so busy. But we can easily close through a book buyer and then have them become a client as a high ticket consultant for $300 on the back end, and that's USD for us. So
And so
that's
you're closing them. You're actually you're getting
we're getting
results on the back end.
yeah,
Dude,
because
that's
they're. I
amazing.
mean, we built that funnel that way, right? The book is the pain, and then like your products, right? You have the Kindle publishing, and you have investing and whatnot. It's still the pain. I want to make money, right? Us,
Right.
there's a niche and there's a demand. Whether you buy for $3 or 300, there's still the same pain. We have to fix that needs. So yeah.
That's right. That's
So that's
awesome.
what we're doing. We're following up, and believe it or not, again, we're not very good at the back end stuff just because we're so busy with the Kindle and we're working on weird hours and whatnot. But just to give you an idea, we're getting about 100 to 200 leads automatically building our list automatically every month
That are paying for. I mean,
that
these are
we're
paid
paying
for
for.
leads. Right.
It's
Right.
pay per click. It's they're paying to be on the
It's
thing.
it's different where I'm out there paying Facebook and YouTube to bring me customers, into my opt-in list. Of course, I'm
That's all.
monetizing the back end, and I'm really I think I'm better at the back end than I am most other things. I kind of know how to do that. But nonetheless, I'm still paying for it up front, and it's always a gamble, right? You don't know if this person's going to convert to a buyer, if you did your targeting right, if your pixel was right, if the group was right. So, I mean, that's amazing that you're actually making money on the front end, but you're also leading them into a back end funnel that's also producing. Because I know a lot of people that attempt to do that and they fail. Like, they're not that good with it. So
So
that's
we were
really interesting.
really we put a lot of thought into this. Like, so I'm crazy perfectionist, but I got over it just because like we want to run a business too, right?
Yeah.
But we made sure, even like to the point that even if I saw keywords that were very profitable, I wouldn't enter those keywords. I would make sure it's part of this brand that we created that all have synergy across them. Because
Right.
for us, again, it's not about making a book that makes $300 per month. Great for us, that's great. But if it's not part of that synergy, all we care about is the back end, because we know, as you know in marketing, the money's in the back end, right?
That's
So if it
right.
doesn't have that synergy, it's not part of that lead gen, it doesn't fit our funnel. The Russell Brunson play. So it
Right.
doesn't fit that funnel, But yeah, so that's
It,
where we're.
it's the same concept outside of Kindle publishing, and it's when you get to the more intermediate to advanced level, you see it this way, that not every business opportunity is a good business opportunity because it doesn't fit your mold. It doesn't fit exactly what you're doing. I have to say no to a lot of opportunities where I
Yeah.
know I can make quick money. I know I can make an easy $1,000 or an easy $2,000, but it does not fit into my brand, my email list. It doesn't fit into, like you said, the synergy of the business model that I have at play. So I refuse it because I'm thinking long term. I'm thinking back end, deep sales, big sales, high ticket. And that's great that you're thinking that way, and you might be able to do things with Kindle publishing I never was. So we'll probably have to bring you on for another interview in another
I,
4 or 5 months.
I told you, man. Do you want to do the interview now or later when I hit the target I actually have as a goal?
We'll do both. We'll do both.
Awesome, awesome. Why not? I have that target for June 1st, my birthday. So we'll see. Hopefully everything goes well.
You all heard it. June 1st is when Alex is going to hit
Oh
his
my God.
target. And are you comfortable sharing what your target is here on
Yeah, yeah.
national YouTube television?
At national YouTube. So it's I broken down on a calculator. $333.33 a day, which yields 10K per month. So
I love the
it's just a
specificity.
random number, right? So, but like I just mentally, it's like a check mark, like did it.
It's a specific number, and specificity not only persuades our prospects, but it persuades ourselves. You know, when you're
But
very specific about what it is that you're going to do, it tends to happen more than vague general ideas.
so one thing, just as a good tip, right? No, nobody's talked about this, but you can actually determine how much money you're gonna make, right? If you have a few books already, right? You can take the average, right? So in marketing, we say lifetime customer value. Well, you can
Right.
do lifetime book value, and you can take the average of how much that book makes per month, right? Divide that number and then multiply how many books do you need to hit the number you want, right? So in my head, I know exactly what it takes to go to $333 per day. I know how many books it's going to take based on the way I pick keywords, based on I know maybe some people are going to get an outlier book that's going to do 2,000 Great. I don't care about that. I care about my skills. What's the results I've already proven, and how can I pull the trigger to scale to that number? So you can
Right.
reverse engineer the whole thing, right? That's why I'm so picky about the number and everything, because I know I have the numbers to reverse engineer everything and the costs. How much does it cost to produce one book? Okay, how much does it produce? So you can do the whole math backwards, right? So that'll
Right.
probably be an interesting video too to do. Just because you can hit any number if you just bring science to it. Take off the emotion, take off the whole blah blah. Just make it scientific, like you're a lab
Right.
researcher, and you could determine literally how much money you're gonna make.
And that's really, in my opinion, because it's funny, you're echoing exactly my thoughts. Is it's this whole thing is like a science experiment. Internet marketing, building your business. It is like you being in the lab and having a little science project. And yeah, if you know the numbers and you know the process, then a lot of guesswork's taken out. You don't really have to be too creative anymore. You kind of know what to do. Now, within that framework, you will get creative ideas. That's just
Mhm.
natural. It's part of the process. But it's not like you have to think of some genius idea, some Facebook or Uber or something like that. The model is there. You just have to work it, and then things happen. As you've probably, met, encountered little things that are like, oh, whoa, I didn't know that. I could do that now. And that made that happen. And
And the
go
beauty is
ahead.
if you reverse your numbers, right, it'll give you the mindset to know, oh, dude, I need based on the skills I have and the way I'm picking keywords, it's probably gonna take me 50 books, or maybe
Right.
somebody else 150 books. Well, if that's the case, then you got to start thinking 150 books, the cost behind that and whatnot. And it's realistic, right? It's you're looking at the real data, the data that you actually produce, and
Right.
it starts making you think, like, dude, I need a team. I need a designer. I need to. It's gonna make you think even before you even do anything. So I like to always have that plan. That way, I think I can basically come off work and just produce. I know exactly what I have to do, and I already know the thinking, right? I like to do the thinking and then shut my brain and just like a horse, just basically work, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly why I always recommend to students, subscribers, and coaching students and stuff is that really just say what you're going to do the next day. Like write a list out of the things that you have to do. Go to sleep. Don't even think about them. When you get to your desk, you have a plan. You know exactly what you're going to do and how you're going to get there. And that's been, I think, just monumental in me even being on YouTube and having email lists and high ticket products and affiliate products. Kindle has just been that. I'm not special. I'm not smart. I just do it. I list out what I know I have to do and I just do it over and over again until I get those results. And like you said, reverse engineer everything. Have a number in mind and see exactly the steps you have to take to get to that number because it becomes tangible at that point, right? It's like you can almost touch it and taste it.
Yeah, it's very when I say, especially because I have the data, right? It's real data that I produce. If I say I'm gonna make 10K, I can reverse engineer and tell you exactly how many books it's gonna take, and I know how fast we can produce a book. It's very real that I'll be standing here 6 months, like in January for 1st of June, saying I'll have done 10K because you've seen real data, and all you're doing is what's the word? Extrapolating.
Extrapolating.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, good one.
yeah. So
Yeah.
there you go. You're there. You just have to do the work to get there, and that's it. But you know your number.
Right. That's awesome. Really fresh insights to the whole Kindle sphere. I really appreciate it, Alex. And I think June 1st, when you get to that number, we'll probably have another interview then. I think that's going to be a really, really good fodder.
Why?
So what's your next move after this? And if you don't have to be too specific if you want, but what's your next play after this? Just do more of the same or incorporate some of the other things that you've learned in the course or outside? What's going on there?
So yeah. So first and foremost, we're getting all the books done in audio. So in ACX.
Please,
So
please.
yeah, no. We'll see how much that makes. But so while I was doing the ACX, I was like, dude, I already got the narrator to do the audio file. Why don't I just put it on audio CD too? So while we're making the 25 audio CDs, the audio ACX, we're making them on CD too, because I'm like, what's it gonna take? Tell the
Right.
designer to just make an extra square and upload it, and it's already on CreateSpace. So I'm like, let's get 25 ACX audios and then get 25 CDs. Just if somebody wants to buy, I'm giving him 4 formats now. So it's
Right.
four different formats of the same one book that you've already done the promotion, the review, and everything on, right?
Right. And so
So that,
how are you going about doing the CDs for everybody that's interested?
yeah, so it's pretty simple. Well, we get narrators to do the recording of our book, right? So we
Right.
have the file. Then all you do is you go on CreateSpace, you choose the format of CD audio, right? CD-ROM, CD audio, whatever you call it. Just click that button. You put the same keyword, the same title, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. And then when
Right.
you come to the artwork, just make sure that your designer formatted it to be on the cover, right?
Right. Right.
Uh, and that's it.
That's
Now, I
it.
don't know if you should mention this on the course. This is some advanced stuff. You should, yeah. Anybody listening to you should be paying for this.
Yeah, yeah. If you made it this far into the interview, then congratulations. That was a free one, and it was a big free one right there.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
Alex is
Who knows how
teaching
much
me
you're gonna
something.
make? And
Yeah,
this, so
that's
what?
all about repurposing, right? It's like repurposing the content. Don't just put it in one medium. I'm surprised by how many people get into this and they're still on Kindle after 2 years. I'm like, dude, what happened to paperbacks? What happened to audiobooks? And
Oh,
now it's like, what happened to
let
CDs?
them stay on Kindle. Let them, when I see people like saying, I don't want to sound mean or whatnot, but when people say this business is too hard, there's too much, I'm like, dude, I agree with you, man. I agree with you. You should probably
Yeah,
stop.
I
Less
know.
competition. Let our books rank better. It's all good.
Right, right. No, that's very true. And that's the thing is once you get into business of any kind, you find that after plugging away 4, 5, 6 months at it and you still haven't quit, that you're only competing with 1% of the people that are really doing that. Everybody else kind of comes into your side view, your peripheral, and the rear view, you
So that's
know?
a good point. So I see, based on what I see, there's a lot of people making the 1,000 to 2,000, the 500. There's a lot of those, but there's only a few heavyweights, which I'm sure you've probably noticed them a few times, right?
Absolutely.
Between keyword, there's a couple of heavyweights out there, and the thing is, what I've noticed about the heavyweights is that they're differentiating themselves. They're not doing it the way that they're not acting like a self-publisher. They're acting like the big guys, the big publishers. And that's one of the reasons why we're doing things a bit differently, right? So nobody's doing audio CD. Well, you should probably doing if you go, what Zig Ziglar says that if you go Zig, you should go Zag. If everybody's
Right.
going Zig, go Zag. Do everything the opposite. That way you don't look like a small company. You look like a gigantic company. And that's one of the biggest things why I work so hard with the designer to make it look so professional. Anybody that looks at any of our books, you'd never think it's just a team of outsourcers and whatnot. We make sure that the books are different and we're offering formats that nobody else is offering, right? We want to really stand out and be very unique. That way people don't say, and because of that, because we look so professional, believe it or not, we get less negative reviews. People
Right.
are like, dude, these guys are, it's a publishing company, you know?
You're not some kid in his mom's basement and his tidy whities like just putting books
Those
up.
guys getting those books on Fiverr, the designs on Fiverr and whatnot, and it looks cheap, you're
Right.
gonna get blasted for that. You're gonna get blasted for that. But if you really differentiate yourself and you look gigantic, people are just gonna be like, these guys are big. Like, it must be real.
Right.
I'm not
Right.
trying to like you should publish a good book. You should do everything the right way, a genuine, valuable book. But at the same time, you should be different. You have to be different.
They
And you
say
made a video about that, about making books that are cover that's ugly. That's a great point. Like
right.
do something that looks different.
Exactly. Yeah, I always make it a point to stand out in everything that I'm doing. And it doesn't have to be being better than the other person. It just means having to be different than the other person, right? So if they're sending emails constantly pitching people, I'm going to send an email that's not going to pitch you, all right? It's just going to warm you up for something else. And when I do pitch you, it's not going to be the way that guy pitched you. It's going to be totally different. So yeah, the same concept applies, I swear, to everything. I found that when I was looking for my spouse, right? I was actually going out looking for her, whereas people say you got to wait for love to come to you. I'm like, no, 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 I'm not doing that. I want to be selective. Exactly. I'm like, I want to be selective in my choice. I don't want to be with girls in my social circle. So what did I do? I would go out and I approach girls until I find the girl that I want. Like, who's doing that? Not that many guys do that. They wait for love to come to them. I'm like, no, I'm going to go and architect love. I'm not going to wait for it to come to me.
I think that's like the entrepreneur, like we got to get, you said you made a video, I think yesterday, and you said, I am responsible if I get hit by a car, I am responsible. That is the biggest shift. Even in the Facebook group, I see some people saying some stuff. I don't want to name names and whatnot, but like you are, as an entrepreneur, you got to get out of that mindset that you're an employee. You're not,
Right.
things are not happening. You are not in control as an employee. As a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you are in control of everything. You are responsible for everything. I don't know how this rant came to be, but like
it's probably the most powerful thing that we've said, so far in this whole 42-minute interview. This is it. This is, yeah, with 42, it's good though. It's okay. This is it. This is really it. Because when you take on that self-responsibility mentality, when you take on that whatever happens in this life, to me, I'm making it happen to me. If I know that there's a tornado in Florida, well, why would I even want to go in that direction, right? I don't know if tornadoes even come in Florida, but if it's hailing outside and I don't want to get wet, well, I'm not going to go outside, right? From as simple as that to as more complicated as, well, if Amazon can pull the plug on me at any moment, isn't it wise to maybe actually have a back end, or maybe go and have another business model, have something else in place if you feel that way.
You should have done some stuff. Or Amazon, just the other day, you sent us the thing that proved that you have the publishing rights. Okay, man, we're taking responsibility. We got to take action. We know exactly what we're going to do. Follow the rules, abide by the rules, have a backup plan, have another backup plan.
Right. No, 100%, 100%. And that mentality alone, like I can already tell, even just talking to you, you're going to go ahead and succeed and do really big things online. But that alone right there, that you practice that day to day, that's really telling. That's a telltale sign that somebody's going to succeed or not. And a lot of people do make money online, but like you said, they make $1,000 or $2,000 a month and they're always complaining. And that's because they have not adopted this mindset. When you adopt this mindset, not only does your income grow, but you stop complaining. You kind of expect problems to happen. I know we talked in the group the other day about putting out fires, and I said, look, man, you actually said if you're not putting out at least one fire a day, you're not doing something right. And I'm thinking to myself, like, man, I'm putting out like 7 fires a day. So, it's
right, man.
It's it. And I saw my dad growing up, because he's an entrepreneur. He was an immigrant from Iran, came here during the revolution, and he built a very successful business in his own regard. And I saw every day he just had to put up with one challenge after another. An employee comes in sick, a customer gives him shit, a customer pulls out a gun, just crazy stuff. But he kind of always knew that he had to deal with something like that. And when you have that knowledge, when you know that every day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to kind of box with people, figuratively speaking, then you're going to have success. It's inevitable,
Or just like plowing away every day, you're doing an 8-hour shift, you're commuting 2 hours. I don't have to be in front of my computer. Like, I already have a good job, right? I have my degree, but you know what? No, I want to take responsibility. I want to go to the next level. Why is it other people you see these motivational videos, they're driving these cars, living. Why is it for other people, right? You already know, being an employee, you were not going to live that kind of life. It's running a business or being a professional of some kind, right? If you got the grades to be a professional, then you probably, maybe if you're going to get that life. Other than that, it's business. Business is your escape. And you have to put in, like, it's on me, right? It's on me to work after hours, weekends. Right now, right before calling you, I was working my business, answering some questions about some of the promotion team. Right after this interview, I'll probably be doing some more stuff. Again, I don't treat this passively. I am treating this like a business, And that's I think that's the biggest, like, wake up, guys. It's on you, If you're not succeeding, it's on you.
That's exactly. Likewise, like I was working on 2 different projects before I got on the phone with Alex, or on Skype, and I have a few more things I have to do, and you have to compartmentalize your life like this, because you're never going to get stuff done. And I already know that today, by 6 p.m. my time, I will have had 2 or 3 issues confronting me where I had to kind of solve them. Not a big deal. Some days they're smaller, some days they're bigger, but you will always solve them if you're hell-bent on solving them. If you know that, like, I'm going to figure out a problem with that. I don't know how many times Amazon sent me an email. The other day they sent me an email saying you have to actually update your table of contents. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? The table of contents, I can click on them. You can go there. Like, what are you saying?
At this point, I'm like, yes, Amazon. Yes, here's the
Right.
correction. No problem. Done.
Yeah,
Done.
it's taken care of. I took care of it, you know? It's all good. It's done. And I had to do that, I don't know, over 20 or 30 times along the way, but hey, now I get to wake up and enjoy my passive income and know that I have money coming in that will take care of my life. And now I also have money coming in from other businesses because Amazon is, taking care of itself. And so it's just like that's
Oodles.
the price you pay. It's the price you pay and it's a small price in my opinion. You know?
Yeah, the truth.
The
Like you
famous
said, you deal with the fires and you get oodles of cash, right?
There you go. Yeah, I used that word too, didn't I? Yeah, I'm silly like that when it comes to writing. Yeah, and Bikram, the famous Bikram Chowdhury, the guy who invented Bikram yoga. If you want to
Okay.
hear about a controversial figure, he is it. I've tried his method of yoga. It's my favorite. It's hell, right? It's like you're in a hot room for an hour and a half, and you're doing some of the hardest contortions of your life. But afterwards, you feel amazing, and you can talk to anybody, and you could woo anybody, and you could disarm somebody who's ready to kill himself, and others. It's like you can do that stuff after this hour and a half of hell. And I heard him once in a seminar say the only way to heaven is through hell first, and I really, really believe that.
One book I would really recommend to people about this responsibility one. I'm kind of like really like following this guy, Grant Cardone. I don't know if you see some of his YouTube
Yeah,
videos.
yeah.
He's got this book called 10x,
The
the 10x
10x.
rule.
Hmm.
I would really, really recommend. It's all about like this guy was a guy that had zero when he was 25 years old.
I'm
Father
writing it
died when
down.
he was young, drug addict, and then today he's a billionaire. I mean, he's got his
Right.
own plane, and he really talks about you are responsible. If you cross the road and somebody hits you from the back, it's your responsibility. And this mentality, I would really recommend getting the audiobook or the book. Really, 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 really changed the way I think that it's on you, man. Like, and that nobody can, for me at least, nobody can say anything about this guy because he came from nothing, made his own money, did everything himself, and he has things that people 1%, 0.001% of the population has, right? I'd
That's
really
right.
recommend that book.
I say if you whether you love or hate a guru, if they're doing well, you want to see what it is that they're doing and doing. I know a lot of people don't like Dan Kennedy because he's a very blunt guy, but I'm like, you will learn a lot about marketing if you just listen to this guy. A lot of the things he says I don't agree with in terms of politically and things like that, but I'm like, you know what? I don't care. The guy knows how to draw a crowd. The guy knows how to herd people, how to sell high ticket stuff, how to do copywriting. So I'm gonna listen. I don't care
Not,
what he
not just
is.
that, but like you like why I bought into your course, right? I knew who you learn from. Like you said, we're standing all on bigger people's shoulders, right? Gary Halbert also learned from the great Dan Kennedy. Sorry, learned from the great Gary
Gary
Halbert.
Albert. Right.
Gary Halbert, Dan Kennedy taught some of the biggest gurus: Evan Pagan, Frank Kern, Russell Brunson,
John
Mike Singh,
Carlton.
John
Right.
Carlton. Like
Yeah.
he is like, I don't care if you don't respect him or do. Like, you need to give him props. You need to take off the hat and say, dude, you are. I'm sorry, like you are the guy. That's why when you
Right.
mentioned you studied on this guy, it makes perfect sense, right?
Right.
So that's the way I always, for some reason, because probably I've been around for a while, and I could trace like, oh, dude, you learned from that. Oh, okay, then you're the real
Right.
deal.
He knows what he's talking about. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I,
yeah,
I
exactly.
name drop like that so people can know. I'm like, all right, if this smile doesn't fool you, then this will. No, I'm joking. No, that's 100% true, man. I mean, it's like you have to stand on the shoulders of giants. I mean, we could go back to the 1920s, Robert Collier. I don't know if you know who Robert Collier
I have
was,
a
but
book.
the
Dale Carnegie.
so
Man, I
there
have all the books,
it was
man.
yeah, it was in that time. Robert Collier, get his letter book, the Robert Collier letter book. I learned more about copywriting from that book than any 5 or 6 copywriting modern copywriting books I've ever read. It's a thick book and it's kind of daunting to read sometimes, but oh my god, like it'll blow your mind. And it's an old language too, so you have to kind of withstand that. But people stand on the shoulders of giants, and I'm sure people that are watching this today, they'll take on what I'm saying and what you're saying, and they'll go on and build, the next billion-dollar company just because they kind of got a little tidbit from this interview, hopefully. Um,
Oh,
yeah, so we've gone on a long time, Alex, and I feel like we can go on forever. But I'm going to end it there, just so if anybody stayed until this segment, you are the man or you are the woman. Really, like, congratulations, and you're going to do well. But Alex, I want to thank you again. This was very, very inspiring and educational, I feel like, because I think I even learned a thing or two from this. So really
oh,
appreciate it, brother.
Hey, thank you, man, and hopefully we'll see each other in June then at another YouTube video then.
Absolutely. You got to stick by your goal, and I know you will.
No choice now.
It's in the public. Exactly. All right, man. Thank you very much, and we'll talk soon.
All right, man. Take it
Say
easy.
bye to YouTube. Bye, YouTube.